you and welcome back to the channel. My name is Sky and today I'm excited to spill the tea on my experience working as a Tesla employee. Yep, that's right. I worked for the electric powerhouse that has been turning heads on the highway left and right.
Last weekend Tesla.
This weekend I saw my first Cybertruck and I was blown away at the fact that they really pulled it off. So working at Tesla was not exactly what I thought it would be, though it was fun and fascinating. Sure, it's one of the top dogs in the tech industry, but it's not your typical 9 to 5. It's actually ran like a startup tech company with not as competitive pay as other tech companies in the industry, and I'll go into detail on that later on in the video and tell you why I think people still work at Tesla although the pay is not as competitive as one would think. So grab your water or your cup of tea because in today's video I will be dishing out the tea on my entry-level role working at Tesla, the thrill of zipping around brand new luxury EV vehicles, why I quit, and whether I would personally purchase a Tesla myself. Plus, we'll talk about the highs and lows of working at one of their busiest locations, and that was located in the middle of Hollywood. But before we dive deep, let me make one thing clear. Everything that I'll share in today's video is just based off of my opinion and my experience while being an employee at Tesla. I only worked there for a few months in 2022, but boy did I learn a lot in the short time that I was there, and we're gonna talk about that right now. So let's get right into the video and stop the chit chat. What was I hired at Tesla to do? I was hired as a seasonal Tesla advisor, and surprisingly, I found out that Tesla was hiring through TikTok. A seasonal Tesla advisor is an entry-level position that has okay potential to scale and grow with the company. But there is a catch, and I will talk about that later on in the video because it has a lot to do with why I quit. To purchase a brand new Tesla, a customer has to go online, place an order, and then wait for the specific car and VIN number to be assigned to them. As a Tesla advisor in the delivery department, our team would handle how and when that vehicle would be delivered to the customer, or when the customer could come and pick up the vehicle. So my role was extremely fun because I was delivering Teslas every single day, meaning I had the opportunity in Los Angeles, California to drive around the entire city and deliver vehicles to high-end people who could afford to buy Teslas in 2022, just 2 years after the global pandemic. So these people had money. I met actors, celebrities, bankers, millionaires, a tech billionaire, and awesome EV loving people. I even met a millionaire who tipped me $100 after I scratched his car because he forgot to mention before the delivery that you have to back into his driveway in Hollywood Hills. If you don't know anything about Hollywood Hills, it is a very small community on the hills of Hollywood, and the streets are very narrow. You literally have to wait for cars to pass, and the way that this customer's driveway was set up, it goes this way, which means you can't come in this way, you have to come in from this way, and it's best to back in. Had I known that information prior to the delivery, I would have never damaged his car, but it was very minimal damage, and he tipped me $100 because he felt bad and my anxiety was through the roof. Every customer would ask me what was my favorite thing about Tesla vehicles, and I would tell them how light and easy it is to maneuver a Tesla. I would work 8+ hour shifts, and when I would get back into my car, I would feel how heavy and how much effort it took for my knee to power my vehicle to accelerate. When you're driving a Tesla, all you need is a little push to the pedal and that thing is gone. It is gone. You don't know what it's like until you experience it, and I'm sure it's probably like that for a lot of EV vehicles. Teslas are fast, they're swifty, they're light, they're quiet, and you just roll, you just go. So driving 6 Teslas a day did not affect my body like driving my heavy personal vehicle. Anywho, I absolutely loved my role as a Tesla advisor, and I was great at it, especially in the delivery department. Tesla is a company of so much freedom, at least from my experience. There was very minimal micromanaging. It was to the point where I was able to start my YouTube channel while I was working for Tesla.
This is my last weekend Tesla. Making memories.
Making memories.
She got fired.
Making memories.
That's all she does at work, literally.
Right. I should have vlogged this the whole time I've been working here. They would have been like, y'all know the Tesla girl with the vlog? Nah, you don't want to be known as the Tesla girl with the vlog. Elon Musk ain't paying that much.
Because I would go deliver a customer's car and then either be picked up by a Tesla employee, picked up by an Uber driver. Ooh, I just cracked my finger. Or I would take the customer's vehicle back if they were doing a trade-in. And on the rides where I didn't have to drive back, I was so bored. I literally would create YouTube shorts or some type of content to post on my social media platforms because I felt like I needed to be productive in my personal business, and I did have a small business at the time. And I'll talk about that later on in the video because that did contribute to why I left Tesla, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, would I recommend this role to you, whoever is watching? It depends. If you are young, active, don't have a lot of monthly expenses, and are willing to grind your way to the top in order to get promoted and make good money and receive good benefits at Tesla, then yes, I do recommend this role and this position for you. But if you're looking to grow quickly and fast with a company, then apply at your own risk. I would not have any idea what your experience will be like while you're working for Tesla, but overall, I did enjoy my experience personally. And we're gonna get to the pros and the cons very soon. But just a little side note really quickly.
For the first ever made. So he wanted to do sports cars first?
Yeah, they made these shirts just based off the notice of these chassis.
Wow. Someone own these two?
Yeah, apparently they're holding.
Wow. That's nice.
There was nothing more fun than putting a new hire in a Model S or a Model X Plaid and telling them to buckle their seatbelt and hang on, and being able to be the one that takes off on the expressway, vroom, 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 in a Plaid vehicle, gunning it. Now, obviously, I was only able to do that for a few seconds, and you always have to drive careful and drive safely. This was just a thing that we did, okay? This was the thing that we did. You have to let people know how fast this car could go so that they wouldn't gun it in reverse while trying to park at a supercharger and take out all the chargers that Elon and the team worked so hard to put around the globe. I just remember when I was the passenger, when the person gave me the Plaid test, and oh my goodness, y'all. It feels different from an airplane that's taking off or landing because the car is so small. You're sitting there and you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, you're gonna show me how fast the car can go. And they're like, you ready? Yeah. Whoa! My goodness, it'll take your bun down. For real, that's just how fast it would go. Let me fix this and then I'll come back. Now let's get into the tea, shall we? What are the pros and cons of working for Tesla? Pro number one, I got to drive extremely fast and expensive brand new EV vehicles every single workday. I was never micromanaged, and there was a lot of downtime, especially during the non-peak delivery season. Pro number two, Tesla really is woman friendly, which is something that you want to know if you are a woman stepping into the car industry, because it is a male dominated industry for a reason. There were plenty of times where I didn't feel like a feminine woman while working at Tesla, because I was expected to put caps on vehicles, do like cleaning, screw on license plates, and do just little things to get the car prepared and ready to be delivered to the customer. And at times cars would just be dirty or filthy on the outside and you would have to get your hands dirty. But my experience at Tesla versus the other company I worked for was really great in that regard. And that was a really good thing to have because that builds teamwork. And that leads me into pro number three, and that's the culture. It really is like a family culture, at least from my experience in the branch that I worked with. And I do think that I assisted in that because I'm such a bubbly person. I always walk in, I'm very high energy. Grand rising, today gonna be a good day. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So I know I brought a lot of smiles and a lot of the good energy, but the team overall was really responsive to one another. Everyone was just cool as fudge cakes. Like everybody was cool as fudge cakes. I met friends, people still check on me, people still ask would I come back, and for that I'm grateful. I did apply to return when I was struggling financially, but I'm glad that it didn't work out because if I'm being authentic, I am just an entrepreneur. I'm not the person that wants to get it out the mud and work every single second of my life building someone else's dream. And that brings me to con number one. Con number one, you do not work specific hours or a specific schedule that stays the same. Now, it could be different. Again, I did work there a few years ago, but when I worked at Tesla, Tesla, my schedule went from 7:30 to 4:30, 8 to 5, 8:30 to 5:30. Like, it changed just whenever they needed it to change. And you didn't really get off at 4:35 or 5:30. You got off when the work was done. When all of the deliveries for that day was done, if we committed to delivering set amount of vehicles, we're going to deliver all of those vehicles, period. Because everyone at Tesla works overtime. It is just a thing there. And if you complain about working overtime, you're going to stand out because everyone works overtime. From the managers to the supervisors to the team to everyone at my branch, at least, that I experienced, and at the other branches that I went to, worked overtime. At least 1 hour every single day. And as a small business owner, that is something that I personally struggle with. I prefer to know when I would be getting off so that I can then give my time and my focus to my small business. And my small business was something I was passionate about. So being that it was taking so much of my time, that definitely affected me and my decision to leave Tesla. And during my time there, we were also expected to work weekends and holidays. I had to fight to get Saturdays off, and Saturdays were my peak days, my prime time days as a small business owner. That is the only reason that I was able to get Saturdays off. I had to prove that I had a small business and that my money from that business came in on Saturdays. No one else was able to get Saturdays off, especially in my role. And there were a lot of people who worked in positions higher than me that did not get weekends off. But I feel as though Tesla grew really fast, and that could have a lot to do with it. Con number 2 and why I quit. Remember earlier in the video when I said that the position of a seasonal Tesla advisor had okay potential to scale and grow with the company into a more permanent position? It didn't take me long to realize that a lot of people in my office had the same role as me as seasonal Tesla advisors, and they were seasonal, but they had been with the company for over a year, and someone had been with the company for 2 years and was still considered a seasonal Tesla advisor. So if you're wondering what that means, it means that they were not receiving any of the amazing benefits that Tesla and other tech companies has to offer. And that was a little questionable to me. I never really worked for a company where seasonal people were extended and still being called seasonal employees and not receiving the full benefits, although they're working over 40 hours a week. Like, I really couldn't wrap my brain around it. So that had a lot to do with why I decided to quit. And I believe that people work in those environments and in those situations because they really love the brand. They really love where the company is going. But in that, you can also lose yourself, lose your goals, lose your passions, and just not have full creative control over your life. And I'm a very colorful, vibrant being that's full of energy. I need to feel like I'm in control of my life and where it's going. Even if I'm an employee or an entrepreneur, I have to have a sense of direction. And if I don't find that, if I feel lost, I will get into a deep slump and I will fight to climb up out of that. So that is why I decided to leave Tesla. Although I was killing it, I was doing a great job. Even the people that I didn't think rocked with me, they still let me know how great it was to know me while I was there. So that's a great thing, I guess, in my opinion.
So my manager at Tesla, one of the managers, he don't want me to go.
Now, before I answer whether or not I would buy a Tesla myself, let me provide you just a little insight. Because I worked as a Tesla advisor and the position was very broad, we would move around sometimes to different departments based off of need. So I did get to work in the service department quite a few times, and I absolutely hated working at the service department because of how busy and crazy it was. So knowing what I know about the flaws and about the kinks and the pros and the cons, would I buy a Tesla myself? The answer is absolutely. Every car will come with some type of problem. It's impossible to have the perfect car. And the company, at least the branch that I worked for, worked really hard to work out any kinks that any customer of ours was having. So knowing what I know, I truly do recommend Tesla vehicles, and I will be buying one. I want my next car to be a Tesla or a G-Wagon if I'm making bank like that. If you like and subscribe to the channel. The last question I will answer is, did I get to meet Elon? No. It's all good though, because I didn't feel like I needed to meet the CEO of the company that I work for. I can appreciate their work from afar and still contribute as long as I align with the mission of the company. All in all, working at Tesla was a blast, and I really did cherish my time that I was there, although I did quit. The real highlight there was the people and the team and the culture and the environment. Being set up like a startup tech company, it was a lot of fun because you could make mistakes, you could be yourself, and it was in Los Angeles where all of the people are so diverse and cool and silly and fun, and I really met a lot of cool people that I will never forget while I worked at Tesla. And for that, I am truly grateful for the experience that I did have while I worked there in 2022. Remember, this is just my slice of the Tesla pie as an employee. I'm pretty sure if you work there, your experience will be quite different from mine. I know a lot of things have had to change in the last few years, and they're going to continue to learn and grow as a company. So this is in no way intended to bash the company, but good luck if you want to work there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next video. Where does the Cybertruck fit into the sexy? I don't even know, but there are 4 Teslas when I was working there in 2022. That was the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y, which stood for sexy.
You need to turn on the light show.
We don't have that.
Do a light show.
You want to do a light show for real?
Yes.
Yeah, do a light show.
Do a light show.
Do a light show.
Okay.